Alright guys, welcome back to Hood's Custom Shop. So today I'm going to be gluing up a panel out of these boards right here that I got from a log I milled up a while back. So the first thing you want to do is, what I like to do is find lumber that matches each other. So I went through the stack that I have and I picked out all, the same length and same width stuff. Everything here has been resawn and ran through the jointer to be made nice and square and to match up so we don't have a bunch of gaps and stuff in here when we glue this up. So you want to kind of go through and face your boards, and typically these are quarter sawn, so it doesn't really matter which way I flip them because the grain is going straight up and down this way, pretty close to 90 degrees to the face of the board. And that's how we get these medullary rays, this kind of tiger strapping in this wood. This is actually primo top grade white oak right here. Quarter sawn white oak is just the best of the best, honestly, for cabinetry. But anyways, so what I want to do is kind of look at this, and I want to pick the face. What I want to be the face, right? And sometimes if it's, let's say, flat sawn, where the face of your board is, say like this right here, this is the face. You may have the wood grain, the rings of the tree running through it this way if it's flat sawn, or they might be going the other way. And typically what you would do in that case is you would actually have one of them going this way, you alternate that, and the other one going this way, the next one this way, and the next one this way. And the reason they say to do that is because no matter what you do, that wood will shrink and grow over time, over the years, and with the variations and changes in humidity and the moisture content of that wood. So the less moisture content, the more it's going to shrink. And the way it shrinks actually goes with the rings of the tree. So, well, that's the direction of most of the shrinkage and the shrink and grow of wood. So you have to take that into account. And if you have it alternating like that, then overall your board or your panel or whatever will stay fairly flat. It won't stay perfectly flat, but fairly flat. And that is one reason why quarter sawn, you guys may hear that pretty often, quarter sawn is the most stable, because the way it shrinks is in thickness, because those rings that go around the tree on quarter sawn actually goes parallel, 90 degrees to the face of the board. And so whenever it shrinks, it doesn't cause the board to cup. It will just shrink, in thickness. And that's why it's worth a lot more money. Also, it's worth a lot more money because of the medullary rays that you can see in here. This design in the wood is a very sought after design. I hope you can see that in the camera here. If not, hopefully you'll see it eventually. All right, so what I want to do is kind of look at these and pick the faces that, I want to kind of make these, if I can, make them look like, one solid board, which is virtually impossible. But I want to pick, in my case here, I want to pick the best looking, faces. And then once I've done that, I think this right here, I don't know on this one. I don't know which one I like better, because this is going to make several panels for the doors. This is what I'm making right now is like the inset panel that goes inside the door, door fronts for your cabinets, and then you'll have the trim piece that goes around that. And so I want to get these glued up to make those panels, and then we'll get them cut to size and everything, or roughly to size. I'm always going to be cutting oversized until it comes right down to actually making them the exact size they need to be and running them through the router and all that kind of stuff. Always cut it oversized. You have some waste and stuff there, but all you got to do is cut it undersized one time and it's ruined. So we're going to make these panels or get these glued up like this right here. this is all the clamps I own right here, so I got to get started on clamping, gluing these up and getting them clamped and dried. Probably try to do one a day, and so we can get quite a few of these, because it's inevitable I'm probably going to mess some of them up. And I also need to figure out what size of cabinet doors I'm going to be needing. There's going to be some around the sink area. They're going to be pretty good size, and then some smaller ones for the overhead cabinets and stuff. We're not going to have too many of those. We're going to probably have more open shelving for the bus, but there will also be other door panels and stuff for maybe a cupboard or something in there, a little pantry or something like that. And I don't know if one of those might be kind of tall, and so I want to keep these full length until I really get that figured out. But the CNC over here can carve a 24-inch by 24-inch piece. That's the cut size on the CNC. I probably don't want to actually do that big. So we're going to kind of, keep these a little bit smaller. And as far as these right here with the quarter sawn and the medullary raise, I may not carve on these at all. But some of my cabinet door fronts are going to go into the CNC, and we're going to put some carvings and stuff in those just to make them a little more special. Probably, I'm thinking some mountain scenery with some animals like elk and deer and that sort of thing, because I'm an outdoors type person, and that's just what I like. So that's what I'm going to be putting into my school bus. And if I do end up selling it eventually one day, then it's just going to actually make it, worth that much more and just that much cooler. And why not? I got a CNC. Why not do something like that and just add that to the build, and it's it makes for great content for you guys to watch and all that good stuff. And I think you guys would enjoy seeing something different, something over the top and just out there, way different than probably what you've seen on any other channel. I have to, as a YouTuber, I got to think of things that I can do that really make me stand out from everybody else. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. All right, so now let me get down to how to glue up your boards. I've kind of talked about, how to lay them out. You don't have to do it that way. I've glued up plenty of panels where every one of them had were going the same direction, and it worked out fine. As long as your wood is pretty dry and you're not, moving it from a very dry climate to a moist climate, you're not going to have a huge amount of variation. But around here, the moisture content in the air is usually pretty high. So if you get it down to around 7, 8, maybe even 10% moisture content, you're probably going to be pretty good around here. But if you move this furniture to, say, Arizona, well, you're probably going to have a little bit of wood movement. Just saying. But anyways, so you get it figured out how you want it, like this right here. Take you a pencil, all right, just a regular old pencil, and draw you a triangle, or X or whatever. And this thing is kind of messing with me. Just like that right there across your boards. And that way, when you flip these back over, you know for sure that you got them put back the right direction. Now, what I like to do is flip the first one here towards me, this one towards me, this one towards me, and then this one away from me. Scoot them all together. I'm going to clamp these with some of these clamps, get them close together so we don't have glue running down in between these. Get these clamped together like this, and then we're going to spread glue on this top side right here. And then whenever I put these back down, I flip this one towards me, and then away, away, and away. All right, so we start off flipping them up towards me, all of them towards me until the last one, and then that one is away. All right, and then we do just the opposite when they go back the other way. So let's get some clamps on here, get these held together where they're pretty close. You don't necessarily have to do this step, but I find it kind of helps to speed up the the gluing process and being just a little bit cleaner. All right, they're all pretty well close together. This here is a glue spreader. It's just a silicone glue spreader. I can't even, it's from Type Bond. You buy these at Lowe's or probably even Home Depot, I think, carries these. And you don't wash these. Basically, the glue will just pop off. It's silicone, so the glue doesn't really stick. And so all you got to do is, once the glue dries, you just kind of carefully peel it out of there, and it makes for super easy cleanup. All right, so the glue I'm going to be using is Type Bond Premium Outdoor or Indoor Outdoor. This is actually just the premium glue, but that's not what's in there. What I'm actually using is out of this bottle right here, because I just saved these. This is one that I had bought a long time ago, but I refill those with this right here. I like this right here, the green Ultimate Wood Glue, and this is exterior and interior water cleanup, blah blah blah, whatever. This is just really good glue. That moisture, it says it's waterproof. That's the big thing right there. Moisture's not a big deal with this glue, so I'm not using the actual blue stuff. This ain't bad. The stuff I don't really care for is the red bottle. It's good glue, but that's just an indoor glue, and so I like the green stuff in the gallon jug, if you ask my opinion. You didn't ask for it, but there it is anyway. All right, so I'm gonna get this tip here cleaned up a little bit. I don't like getting chunkies in my glue. We'll just start off with putting a nice little strip down each one of these boards. You don't have to put a whole ton on there because each one of these are going to be touching each other, but you do want to put glue on both surfaces, on both sides, and that way you have a decent amount of squeeze out. Not a whole bunch of waste or nothing really, but you want to have squeeze out. If you don't have squeeze out, whenever you clamp your boards together, you've either not put enough glue on it or you didn't squeeze it tight enough. So the key is just putting a nice, I don't know, about an eighth of an inch thick bead. So about an eighth of an inch thick, deep or whatever, bead on there, and about the width of the nozzle that's on this little glue container here. Once you've done that, some people will use this right here, this end, to spread it. I like to just use the paintbrush side. Want to find out where there's a good amount of glue, like excess glue, kind of start off there, because the brush part is going to soak up some of that glue. You don't want to cause a dry spot if you was to start down here where there's really not a whole lot. I like to find where I've got a little bit of a glob of glue and just start there. We'll start spreading this out. I do have a glue roller ordered. It's kind of like it's just a silicone little roller, and when you do it like this, you can actually, if you do a whole bunch of panels, let's say if you had a whole bunch of clamps, it really comes in handy then. But you use that and it just makes it a lot quicker than this method right here, and you can spread the glue very evenly and very quickly, and that way, for me, it's not like I'm going to be doing a whole lot of glue ups in one day. I mean, I could, because technically I can get this glued up and clamp it, leave it for probably 2 hours, and be able to come back to it and take the clamps off of it, stand it up against the wall somewhere to where it's not leaning you don't want it leaning like this. You want it more up and down, but you don't want it straight up and down, because then you can get your boards bowing back the other way. Or if you have it leaning too far, it's going to bow also on you. So those are some things you got to look out for. That's just kind of beginner woodworking 101 stuff. Like stuff I learned back in high school. Those things that I kind of take for granted. I think that everybody took shop class, which in this area it seems, most people did take, a little bit of wood shop because that was kind of the place to hang out back when I was in high school. But I'm learning that not everybody knows all this stuff about woodworking, and I don't think that it's like a super special knowledge that I have of this woodworking and stuff, and I probably don't know everything either on it. I learn every day. I learn from my mistakes still. I don't want to seem cocky or nothing like I know it all, but a lot of people tell me that that I do really, really good woodworking and whatnot, and I try not to let it get to me and get a big head about it or anything. But yeah, so there we go. Got a little bit of glue on. Now we can just set this over here. Definitely make sure you put something down on your work surfaces, because you don't want this glue dripping on everything. So I definitely don't want it on my table saw. I really don't want it on my woodworking bench, because it's a pain to take that off there. You got to scrape and sand and all that kind of stuff. And so this blackboard right here, this is a blackboard and chalk. It's it's a dry erase board on one side and chalkboard on the other side. What you see here is the black like chalkboard side. You can buy this stuff at Lowe's, probably even Home Depot. It's just kind of like a hardboard, particle board type stuff. Pretty inexpensive. Try not to get that glue on me. We had to buy us some clamps in order to do these panels this wide, because it used to be I didn't have but these small ones right here, and like these were the biggest ones I had other than these three right here. So I was very limited on what I could do as far as glue ups. So anyways, all right, so now this one will come towards me, and then let's see, that goes away, right? I think so. Yeah, away from me. Gotta get these apart from each other. Away from me and away from me. There we go. A little bit of glue on my hands, not a big deal. All right, let's try to get these lined up. The side I really like is right here closest to you guys, so I want to get those lined up as best I can. Light pressure. Again, just light pressure. You want at least 2 on the bottom and then 2 on top. Space them out evenly. That's not going to work too good like that. Well, I guess we can lean it over to the side. Gonna try and get these lined up as best we can. I'm gonna lean this over to the side a little bit. I don't like how these feet on these clamps are kind of moving in on me. I don't really like that. Dadgummit. You want to try to get the boards lined up as best you possibly can. This is not very easy to do. I may just I'm going to put these underneath and put my other clamps on top. It won't take long for this to set up. So once you have the glue on, you kind of want to work as quick as possible. Done got glue on that clamp and I ain't even used it yet. Trying to knock stuff off the lathe behind me. Yeah, that's together pretty good. I ain't gonna move that. Overall, it looks pretty darn flat, so it's probably good. One thing I might do in the future, I probably should have done with this, is I probably should have found some boards to actually clamp every so often on these to keep everything nice and level and flat. That's not a huge deal. I can actually go through with a belt sander and even this out pretty good fairly quickly, and not have to take off a ton of material. But that's not a huge deal. I mean, because we are going to have to surface this, and a lot of times what would be really nice is if I had a big planer, like a 36-inch wide planer, or maybe wider would be super nice. Even 20-inch wide would be great, because then you can glue this up and then you can just run it through that planer, or if you have a sander, you can run it through the sander. Typically what you want to do is run it through a planer first real lightly, and that'll take off all your glue. If you don't, I mean, you want to scrape off as much as you can. But yeah, you don't want to wipe this down necessarily with a rag. That just ends up smearing it. And what you can do is take like a dull 5-in-1, a painter's 5-in-1 tool, like a scraper, and use that to scrape the glue off. You don't want it real sharp because that will gouge into your wood. I have a dull one somewhere around here. I don't know where it's at. It's probably in the bus. But you can use that to go through and scrape your glue off. And usually that works better than like sanding and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, there you go. There's a glue up for you. I mean, for me, it seems pretty straightforward. There are tools out there that you can clamp. I forget the name of them, but they basically pinch these in this direction, and it keeps everything kind of lined up. And what you do is you tighten up those just a little bit, and then you tighten up all your other clamps, and you just kind of go back and forth tightening everything up and get everything nice and flat and perfect. And it'd probably be a little better than this right here, but this right here is not bad. We're about a 1/16 out here and there, in a few places on here. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, we're just making panels for cabinet doors for the school bus with this, and if these end up being a little bit thinner, it's not a big deal. But the rest of these right here, a lot of these are actually going to be like the outside frame of those door panel, or the cabinet doors. And so those are the parts that I don't really want to become any thinner, and there's no reason to make them any thinner because we're not gluing those up. We're just going to be kind of mitering them and probably doing some biscuit joints into the miters on them. And I'll show you guys all that kind of stuff later. Some pieces like this right here could end up becoming drawer fronts or something if we have some sliding drawers. I think we'll probably have a few of them, maybe 4, for just, well, we probably need one that's going to be a junk drawer, and then, of course, like your silverware and stuff like that. And maybe if we don't get a magnet thing to put our kitchen knives on, then they'll probably go in a drawer also. But we've got to come up with the sliders, and you know, those things. The ones we are wanting, I think, are probably like $35 a piece. They're kind of a 22-inch long or drawer pulled 22 inches, because I think we're going to do about a 25-inch countertop. So I think 22 inches on drawers and stuff should work pretty good. Our sink, I believe, is 22 inches, so we need to actually, you know, the countertop and stuff is going to have to be a little bigger than the sink. So we're probably looking at about 25 or 26 inches, at least 25. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Just thought I'd shoot a quick little video, show y'all a glue up here, and yeah, just take you in for some close-ups of all this beautiful wood grain right here, and then close out the video. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.